Like, I cannot tell you how many rescuer approaches I've seen in the, we empower women to do da, 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 da. And I'm like, no, you don't. You're basically making them dependent on you for their sense of empowerment, which puts you in persecutor approach, which keeps them in victim approach, which means nobody is in the empowerment ecosystem. And therefore, we are in a disempowering way of meeting our needs. Okay, you can tell I get a little bit charged about this. Hello, 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 and welcome to Well Shit. It really is that simple. I'm Claire.
And I'm Serena. On this podcast, we help you to understand about your 12 universal needs, why they are currently not being well met,
how to meet them in ways that work for you, and how to consistently do so in quick, easy, and simple ways that fit seamlessly into your life.
We'll also help you to understand how doing so will have a positive ripple effect in literally every area of your life.
If you like what you hear, sign up for more support with meeting your needs with your weekly Universal Needs notes at theuniversalneeds.com.
And enjoy the show.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hey, everyone.
I just literally, like, we were mid-conversation and I hit record and I heard Serena was in that. I was about to say something, but now we're recording, so I was like, the good thing is I can edit, but yeah. Instead, we decided that this is the time to talk about the next part. And this is, I mean, all of the three positions in the empowerment ecosystem, and obviously understanding the context of the community are important. And I think it's like, I want to say, obviously the creator approach is the most important one because that's the one that all positions are first and foremost. And I was about to say, I think that the support approach is the next most important, but actually I don't think that's true at all. I think all three of them are equally important because we've gone through the drama triangle. We know the impact of being in the rescue approach, and the rescue approach wants to, most people who are in the rescue approach, they really want to help. So the beauty of the support approach and the contributor approach, which is the one we're going to talk about in the next episode, all of these are ways of helping people that actually help. Like, these are the ways of doing, this is what we were trying to do in the rescue approach, and a lot of the time failing miserably because we were still within the drama triangle and keeping everyone kind of sucked into our little Bermuda triangle of doom. This is the way of doing the thing that we really wanted to do in the first place. So let's start off with a quick little reminder, as before, which is, we know that we're talking about the empowerment approach, the empowerment ecosystem, which is our green shape, which we have on the screen right now. And the three positions in the empowerment ecosystem are the creator approach, the supporter approach, and the contributor approach. All of these positions in the empowerment ecosystem, they have consistently met needs or are consistently meeting their needs, are on that journey to getting their needs better met. They are a creator approach first and foremost. They are a creator approach at their core. The core feeling is want. What do they want more of? And their focus is on their outcomes. And as we said before, like, the first and most important difference between the empowerment ecosystem and the drama triangle is that all of these positions within the system are aware and mindful of the fact that they're part of that wider community, whether that's their local community, the national, the global, the environmental. And that community is the needs ecosystem. And this awareness means that due to the interconnectedness of the community, how we are going to engage with meeting our needs or supporting others has to be approached in a self-first way, i.e. taking care of our own needs as a priority at the minimum in ways that do not harm anybody else, their needs or the ecosystem, and sometimes also benefiting them. And if you haven't already listened to it, we're going to put the link to the Self-First series because these two things go hand in hand. Like, you can't be in the empowerment ecosystem if you don't understand about self-first ways of meeting your needs. So we'll put the link down there. So if you haven't listened to those episodes, you can go and have a little listen. And as we said before, the first and most important position in the empowerment ecosystem is the creator approach, because every single position in the empowerment ecosystem is engaging with that. They are a creator approach first and foremost before they can become either the contributor or supporter approach.
So now that we've gotten into the creator approach on our last episode, the next approach in the empowerment ecosystem is the supporter approach. So what is the supporter approach? The supporter approach
I don't know.
is
Tell
fun.
Well, I mean, I do know, obviously, because I actually came up with it. But just pretend. I don't know. Tell me.
The supporter approach is fundamentally supporting another creator with their own self-support. So to be in the supporter approach, we have to first and foremost be in the creator approach ourselves. We have to be self-supporting in order to be able to offer support without it being to our detriment, and to ensure we have the capacity to support by meeting our own needs, because we cannot pour from an empty cup. We say it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The other critical piece about being in the supporter approach is that we see the other person also as in we also see the other person in creator approach, not as the victim who needs rescuing. And that is very, very important. We
Mm-hmm.
remember that the most important power to affect change for someone in the creator approach is in themselves. To be supporter approach, we need to be supporting them through this lens. So just a little note, when we're in the supporter approach, we don't want to empower the person in the creator approach.
Well,
this
we
is
don't we don't empower them. Like, it's not that we don't want to.
Them.
We might want to, but we don't. Like,
we don't empower
because we
them.
can't.
Because it's impossible. What we can do is we help them to realize or remember that the power is and always has been inside themselves. We support them in re-empowering themselves, the only true empowerment there is. So when we're in the supporter approach, we are there to support the person in creator approach with doing it for themselves, not to do it for them. And that's something, like, a lot of times we hear like the word support and there's an element of doing it for them. This is not what we're talking about here.
We'll get to that later.
We believe that the other creator's ability to support themselves, we believe in the other creator's ability to support themselves in the situation. When we're in supporter approach, we're there to support the person in creator approach with doing it for themselves, not to do it for them. We believe in the other creator's ability to support themselves in the situation. We're just there as a support as they are doing that. If how the other person in the creator approach responds to the support has no bearing on our own sense of value or worth.
So I just got to jump in here, because this whole, like, we're not empowering another person, we are supporting them with their own empowerment, is so important to me. Mm-hmm. I cannot tell you how many people are out there going, I am an empowerment coach. This is an empowerment seminar. Here's an empowerment workshop. And I'm like, fuck right off. Like, every single one of you. Like, I mean, and it's okay. You may be able to be an empowerment coach if you are supporting people with remembering their own connection to their own power. But a lot of people, that's not what they're doing. They're trying to empower others. And that, like, in the marketing spiel, it's all like, we empower you. No, you don't. Fuck off. Like, that's not empowerment. Because the reason than that, and I want to break this down a little bit more for people, the reason that is not empowerment is because if you need somebody else to do something for you to be empowered, that's not empowerment. That creates a dependency on that other person. This is the rescuer approach all over again. Like, I cannot tell you how many rescuer approaches I've seen in the, we empower women to do da 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 da. And I'm like, no, you don't. You're basically making them dependent on you for their sense of empowerment, which puts you in persecutor approach, which keeps them in victim approach, which means nobody is in the empowerment ecosystem. And therefore, we are in a disempowering way of meeting our needs. Okay, you can tell I get a little bit charged about this. This is something that I like. Serena gets a little punchy, No, I don't want to punch anybody else. I just want to punch a pillow or something, because I'm like, it's so annoying, it's so frustrating.
The air around this frustration.
Yes, I'm like, I'm gonna what do you call it? Like shadow box with an actual shadow. But I think it's really important that to recognize that in the same way, and disempowerment is slightly different. It is true that you can't actually disempower somebody who is connected to their own personal power. You can harm them, and you can maybe control their ability to meet their own needs. So there is an element of you taking power over them, but you cannot affect somebody's own connection to their own personal power. The problem is most of us haven't been taught how to connect to our own inner personal power, which means that in any situation where we're harmed by anybody, we already feel disempowered anyway in life in general. And so that's the reason that a lot of people think that you can disempower somebody else. The truth of the matter is, if you are connected to your own personal power, it doesn't matter what somebody does to you. They may harm you. You may have trauma that you may need to heal and overcome, but you can still stay connected to your personal power within the context of that situation. It obviously becomes much harder the more trauma and abuse, and we need to put a trigger warning on this episode that we're going to talk about trauma and abuse. that it's obviously a lot harder, and it's very easy to feel disempowered, and to get like to have someone like try and bat you in the direction of the disempowerment dynamic, in the direction of the drama triangle. And you can still, even in the context of that situation, you can reconnect to your personal power internally. But I think that it's so important, because so many people are looking for empowerment, and they're looking around them to all these other places and these people and these books and these things. And unless they are directing you back to yourself, unless they are directing you back to reminding you that your power to create exists within you, your power to choose what you want to do with your life and the decisions you want to make, your power to take action on the things that you want to create in your life, which is your connection to your internal personal power, exists within you. Unless they're pointing you back there, if they're like, you just listen to me, you'll be empowered. You tell them, Claire said, fuck right off. Like that's not how this shit works. And so I just really want to remind people that it is much, and it's the part of the reason it's also a little bit harder when it's a little bit more nuanced when it comes to disempowerment, is because we live in a disempowerment culture. We live in a culture that has taught us to be in the drama triangle, where the go-to is to the drama triangle, where our habit is a drama triangle. We've been existing and are surrounded by the drama triangle our whole lives. So it's so much easier to get nudged back into that without us realizing, or without us intending to. It's like, whoop, how the hell did we end up back over here again? And so, as I said, it's nuanced. Like, technically, if everybody's needs were well met and we were surrounded by the empowerment ecosystem everywhere, and all those things, yes, you don't have the ability to disempower anybody. You don't have the ability to empower anybody. It's slightly more complex than that. It's not quite as simple as that, because I can see people like blaming themselves and like, well, I ended up back in the drama triangle again. You're basically saying that I could have avoided that. Yes, and because we're not taught to meet our needs, and because we're living in a society and a culture which continuously works against us getting our needs met, it's much harder to get into the empowerment ecosystem than it is to just slip back into the drama triangle. And once you are well versed in this, once you are practiced in how to get into the empowerment ecosystem, once you've got this kind of creator approach thing down, it's way harder for anybody to get you back into that drama triangle again. Like, once you start to get solid in that again, and you really are connected to your empowerment that's coming from in you, because the things you are doing, choosing, focusing on, and taking action on, I mean, yeah, try me. Try pushing me into the drama triangle. I'll show you a drama triangle. I'll show you where you can stick your drama triangle. Like, that ain't going to happen. And it's going to take some time because of our unmet needs and because of our conditioning around these things.
So let's do a quick overview of the supporter approach. When we're in supporter approach, we're in the creator approach ourselves first and foremost, by ensuring our needs are well met and that we therefore have the capacity to support others. We're viewing the other person we're supporting as a creator as well. We're helping them to remember power is within themselves. We're there to support the other creator, not to do it for them. We're there as support as they are creating for themselves. In the supporter approach, we believe in their ability to support themselves. If or how the other person responds to the support has no bearing on our own sense of value or worth.
Absolutely. So someone who is in the supporter approach asks themselves, how do I support someone else being in their creator approach? So how do I support their self-support? Now, there's a lot of different types of support that someone in the supporter approach can offer or provide. And I'm going to go into just a few of them right now. So we could support by holding space, listening, or witnessing. So this is about offering space for somebody else to process. We might support in terms of encouragement. We might support in terms of challenging their ideas and beliefs as a form of support. This is a constructive act to support growth and to check the robustness of their position or approach, not something we're trying to do to criticize or prove them wrong or tear them down. We could offer insights, education, or guidance where we are an expert in the topic or have a lived experience that means that we might have insights or information the other person in the creator approach doesn't. Physically, we might want to be present while they're doing what they need to do. So things like body doubling, which is if someone's wanting to do something, sometimes having somebody else just present while you are doing it helps to make it easier for you to do it for yourself. You might want to suggest resources. You might help inspire ideas or offer ideas yourself. You might offer feedback or suggestions. You might just simply checking in with them is a way of sometimes supporting them with their own self-support. Offering accountability, offering alternatives, perspectives, or options to consider. Again, with no attachment to if they choose to take them or if they choose those options when they get to their choice option in their creative process. We might facilitate connection to the other creator's own wisdom. So one of the great ways of doing this is by asking questions. So a lot of the time, like if I'm in supporter approach with Serena, I will tend to ask her questions more than I will offer her suggestions, because it's a way of me kind of directing her back to what does she think? What does she believe? What does she know? Reminding them of their power or ability to create. So that kind of, hello, like, remember, like you've got the power, you can do this. You've got this. All of those things are supporter approaches, that they're supporting them with their own self-support. We might remind them to be self-compassionate. So if we can see they're being hard on themselves, this again might be a prompt for them to offer themselves some compassion. We might help by acknowledging their progress. We might help by reminding them about their needs or ways to support their needs. So if you can see that they're maybe struggling a little bit, you might be able to go, hey, just checking in, like, Serena and I were literally having a conversation just this morning where Serena was saying that she's just finished traveling. They've been on this time where they've been out of their routine and everything. And I said, hey, have you considered maybe doing this? This is something I found that when I'm in the position that you're in, kind of helps me get back into that routine and that rhythm and helps my sleep and everything. And so that was, again, it was like reminder of Serena's needs and a reminder of an option of ways that they could do them now. And I remember saying like, no criticism of what you're doing. And I don't think I actually explicitly said this, but I think it's always like assumed between the two of us. Like, if you don't take the suggestion, I will no attachment whatsoever from my side. Like, this is just an idea that may help you.
And you might that phrasing right there, like there's no attachment. Like for Claire and I, we have verbiage and a language between us that we understand. There's a lot of commonalities because of what we do. However, when you bring it out to your everyday life, not everybody has that way of conversing with each other. And I do it consistently when I'm talking to people and offering these suggestions, reminding them, hey, there is no pressure. Like, there's no judgment. I don't care either way. I just want you to know this is another option. And you think with like your closest relationships, so I don't have to do that. They know. This has been so helpful, just adding that little ending. Like this has nothing, like I have no, like, there's a certain phrase that I use. And of course I can't think of the phrase that I use, but like there's no pressure. Offense if you don't do it. Like, this is just an option.
And I would actually go a step further, which is that when people think that with their closest people, they shouldn't need to say that, and maybe we don't need to worry about that piece. I actually think sometimes it's more important in those situations, because the closer you are to people, the more impact their opinion and perspective can often have on you. So it's like, I know Serena values my opinion. And I know that she's like, if I say something, then because of our relationship, because of the trust, because of the respect she has for what I do and what I know, that she's likely to put a lot of weight on that. And it's important for me to take that weight off and go, here's an idea and a suggestion. It doesn't matter what I think about this and whether I think it's a good idea. It matters if you think it's a good idea. If you don't think it's a good idea, like, cast it to one side. It doesn't make any difference to me if you accept this as idea and suggestion or if it doesn't. And think by doing that with your closest people, as I said, like sometimes we make these kind of assumptions about our closest relationships, and we think that we shouldn't need to do these things when the closest of our relationship is the very reason that we do need to do that even more. And the more that we can communicate around those things, because let's face it, if somebody doesn't feel pressure to take your opinion and you say like no pressure whatsoever, that's not going to make the situation worse. It could make the situation better. So in our experience, these sorts of things, over communicating over these things, especially at the beginning when you're first learning to do this, is always better than under communicating. It's far better to say something you don't need to say than to have not said something that you do need to say.
Yeah, it eliminates those seeds that can be planted.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah. And they can fester. Like, it's like,
mhm.
oh, like more than seeds. Like, so I have a very, there's a little, I'm going to have a little anecdote here. So, there is a creator that I follow on TikTok who is, like, it just makes me laugh. It makes me smile. It's like, revenge ideas from a lawyer that won't get you arrested, probably. And it's all like, and every time she does this, it's like, I am not advising you to do this. I do not suggest that this is a good course of action. And one of the things that she said is like, if you've had gone through a bad breakup and somebody has mistreated you poorly, she was like, if you cut up small pieces of potato, apparently potato, when it rots, smells really bad. And she was saying, like, put small pieces of potato, like, inside the couch, like go underneath and slice open the couch cushions and put small piece of potato inside, and the smell will become unbearable. So rather than like, so that was the image I had in my head. So there's a reason I'm saying all of this. I'm not just saying this like, hey, if you want a nice, like, I'm not recommending
Fancy ideas.
This is not a self-first way of meeting your needs. This is just like, we just caveat this. Like, it's something that made me smile when I saw it, because I was like, I could see how that could be a thing, not something I would recommend doing. And the reason that I'm saying this is that rather than planting those seeds, it's like those small pieces of potato that you won't notice at the beginning. And all of a sudden, over time, they start to rot and they start to smell really bad. And then it's like, where the hell is that coming from? And you don't know where it's coming from because you can't remember what happened, because it's so long since it happened. But that's the sort of thing. It's like, sometimes it's like we want to avoid leaving these little things around that over time can rot and degenerate and create problems within our relationships. And so what we want to do is make sure that we do the things, so we clear all the potato out and we don't have to worry about anything stinking. So other ways, I mean, you're going to love some of the ways that we share how our brains work in very interesting ways.
That they do.
So other things that you can do in supporter approach is that you might remind them that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to be human. It's okay to have feelings. So again, you're not feeling the feelings for them. You're reminding them it's okay to have feelings. So you're, again, inviting them into and offering a support to help with them, they're processing their own feelings, which is the thing that they would do in creator approach. We might also want to support or engage in curiosity and exploring possibilities. So while we might come up with ideas as well, we also might ask questions that encourage their curiosity, that help them to get curious, because as we know, creator approach is the curiosity approach. We might also help them with brainstorming or strategizing. So get your noodles at the ready of every description, start flinging them at the wall. Again, this is you coming up with options that they can then choose and take action on. This is not you doing the thing for them.
And I want to say, make sure that they are participating in the flinging of noodles. I've been in situations where I've been on both sides of it, where it's like, I have all these noodles, and then you've buried somebody in all of your noodles. It's an active process for the creator to be part of. As we said with this, you are just supporting them in this process. You don't want to be doing any of the things completely for them.
And also, it's really important to remember with supporter approach, and we're going to get into in a moment what the steps are to connecting with your supporter approach. And one of them is going to ensure that you have consent, as in like the thing that you are doing to support them is actually welcome and that they want it. When you're trying to, so you may be wanting to come from supporter approach, but if they're not in creator approach, or if you are supporting in a way that hasn't checked in with them as to what would be supportive for them, it's so easy for you to actually be in rescuer approach, because what can end up happening is that you're burying this person in noodles and this person's in the victim approach underneath going, oh, what do I do with all these noodles? I don't even like pasta. Like, I'm allergic to pasta. This is not helping me in any way, shape, or form. So it's so important to be in the supporter approach and to ensure that how you are doing this. So yeah, it's important that if you are in that brainstorming, one, that they want brainstorming, and that's helpful for them. And two, like, because like a lot of the time, like Serena and I will say to her, like, do you want any noodles? it's like, that's not a, shall I break out the garlic bread, let's have a pasta dinner. That's a, like, do you want ideas? Do you want suggestions? And then sometimes it's like, actually, no, like, and I had another friend of mine who was trying to help me with something. I was trying to do some copy for a website, and I was getting really overwhelmed, and I was struggling to get to figure out the things that needed to be in there and how to make sure that it was articulated well in a way that represented well. And this person's like started flinging ideas, and I'm like, actually, this isn't actually helping me. Right. I really appreciate that you're trying to help me at this moment in time. That's not actually, like, I'm getting overwhelmed by that right now. So I'm going to just do this on my own for a bit, because it was the easiest way of me working through it. And so that's like, again, this is where you end up becoming like, again, I was in the creator approach there, which is like, actually, I'm feeling overwhelmed. Like, even though this person's trying to help, I'm going to be in creator approach. What I actually want is something that feels better to me. So I'm going to shut down this thing that is supposed to help, but isn't helping at this point in time. And I'm going to come up with options of the thing that's actually going to feel good for me. That's actually going to help me with the thing that I'm trying to create right now. So again, there's a lot of questioning, there's a lot of curiosity when you're in the empowerment ecosystem in any of the positions. And one of the things is like, hey, is this helpful? Would this be good for you? Do you want ideas? And do you want ideas, or do you want me to help you come up with ideas? Or do you want a blend of the two? Because if you're the only one coming up with the ideas might not be really in alignment with what they want, but maybe you asking questions could help them start to come up with their ideas themselves. So there's lots of different ways of approaching this. Other things you can do in the support approach is cultivating and encouraging realistic hope. So when we say realistic hope, what we mean is like, we're not based in fantasy. We're not going, well, don't worry, everything, like, we can have world peace tomorrow. Everything could be fine. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about, you want to do things that are like, as I said, like, you've got this. Like, I know that you've got this. I've seen you do things like this in the past. I know that you're able to do this. How can I support you with that process? So you want to be supporting realistic hope, and also you want to be mindful of the influence of our own potentially limiting beliefs and their potential limiting beliefs, because like, what I believe is realistic hope might not be actually in alignment with reality. So it might be, I'm thinking about like exam results. It's like, I'm sure you can get like a good 45% on this, but in actual fact, their level is that they may be able to consistently get 75%, but because it's our limiting beliefs think this is what they're able to get. So we're trying to cultivate hope down here. So like, this is one of those things where we might want to play and stretch a little bit in terms of like that, like testing where is realistic within the context of the hope that we're offering. We might also want to help the creator to stay focused on their outcome. Like, there are things that we can do, maybe help them with ideas like setting alarms or setting reminders, or questions to ask themselves to ensure that they stay on track. We might support their solutions, so encouraging and supporting their solutions. Celebration of their milestones, great way of supporting somebody being in supporter approach with their own creator mode. Like, if you're seeing someone's in creator approach and they're doing something like, awesome, it's amazing, I'm so proud of you, I'm so pleased for you, that's amazing, I really want to acknowledge what you're doing right now. Now, there are many different types of support that we can offer from the support approach. These are just some examples, but they give you an idea that support approach can look a lot of different ways depending on the person, on the circumstance, on their capacity, on your capacity. And the other thing I want to add here is that a lot of this support is most effective when delivered through the vehicle of questions rather than through making statements or giving directions. So, for example, would these resources be helpful to you will often feel better than here are the resources you need, or here are the resources you should use. Because again, what we're doing is like, we're asking a question. When they are accepting it and going, yeah, actually, I agree with that, they're connecting with their personal power need in that moment.
Now that we know what the supporter approach is, we want to know how to connect with it. So we have 6 steps to connecting with your supporter approach. The first one is creator approach. Check that you are in creator approach and that you are viewing and relating to the other person as creator too. That is very important. As we said, creator approach is at the root of every approach in this dynamic. The second is to offer. Ask whether the person would like the support to ensure it's welcome, consensual, and would feel supportive. This is what we were just talking about. The third step is what? What support do they want? You can ask them this as a direct question. If they know the answer and you have the capacity for this kind of support, you can jump to step 6 and begin providing that support. If they don't know or you don't have the capacity for it, you can move on to step 4. Step 4 is options. Offer options that you could provide which align with your current capacity. And that is a very important component of the options element. Is it needs to be in alignment with what your current capacity is, what you can offer in that actual moment, because what our desire to offer may not actually be feasible, and that can actually end up creating more harm and putting us into another triangle again, which we are working so hard to get away from.
Yeah. And a lot of the time, if you're doing things, if you're offering things that that do not align with your current capacity, you move into that over offering position in the rescuer approach. So the very second you move out of alignment with your capacity, you're probably putting yourself and everybody involved in the drama triangle. I mean, they're probably already in the drama triangle anyway, but you're definitely stepping and participating in creating that drama triangle dynamic.
Mm-hmm. The fifth step is choice. So let them choose the option that resonates most, or if they would prefer for you to do so, choose the option that resonates most with you. The last step is action. Take the action to begin creating that support. So all of these steps, if you don't take the action, you get to, step 5 and then you just stand there and don't do anything with it. You kind of want to actually make the support happen if we're going to go through all of these steps to, do the supporter approach.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really important within the context of this that like these steps, all of them are very important, because if you think about it, like, as Serena said, very first and foremost, you want to be in the creator approach. And you want to make sure that you're seeing them as the creator approach, because if you are not seeing them as a creator too, you're not in the creator approach, you're in the rescue approach. If you're seeing them as a victim and somebody that you have to do these things for, then you've already stepped into the drama triangle yourself. So in order to, first and foremost, you must make sure that you're in the creator approach. And if you're not sure, what am I doing here? You can go back to the creator approach steps. We've got steps to get into the creator approach as well, and view them as a creator, because that's the most important thing. Is that I want to say something that's going to sound a little strange here. And that is, the truth of the matter is that everybody is a very, very powerful creator. The problem is that some people are trying to create the victim approach, the persecutor approach, and the rescue approach. And they're so good at creating it that they're creating that thing. Mm-hmm. Even if it's not what they really want, their actions are so powerful at creating that they end up creating that, even if that's not intentional. So everybody is a creator. A lot of us just aren't mindful of the fact that we're not aware of the fact that we're a creator. We're not aware of what we want to create. We're not aware of the fact that we can create. And so all of this ends up with leading us to be within the drama triangle in greater or lesser extent. So it's so important that you see the other person as someone who can create, who is creating, and who you are just there to support them creating. Like when you do that, it definitely changes things. Because so often, like how often when you want to help somebody, do you feel like sorry for them? That you're creating because you feel sorry for them. It's like, oh, poor them. Like I'm okay, I'll help because and it's so funny because I have people now in my life who sometimes still do not relate to me as a creator, and they jump in to solve the problem before I've even recognized the problem was there. I'm like, wait, oh, that was really unnecessary. Like, I appreciate why you wanted to do that, but you didn't need to do that. And I think sometimes what ends up happening is because people are so uncomfortable with there being a problem or an issue, they jump into rescuer approach. So I remember having a situation last year with a friend of mine who had definitely was squarely in the over offering category. And it was a special day, and I'd spent the majority of this special day at their place by myself because they had other stuff going on, and they suggested that we were going to do a whole bunch of things. We were supposed to be going out for lunch, we were going to go out for dinner, we had something planned in the evening, yada yada yada. And I was a little bit less than thrilled that I'd spent all day by myself. But I wasn't pissy about it. I wasn't like, so anyway, they came back, and then the thing that we were supposed to be doing in the evening was quite a distance away. We were supposed to be traveling to go and see it. And they were like, we're not going to get there in time. Like, we should just cancel it. Now, bear in mind that this is on a special occasion for me. And I'd already spent all day on my own, and it was how it was approached was like, we're just going to cancel it. This is not going to happen. Not, okay, where we are right now, we're on a time crunch where I don't think we're going to get to this thing. Here are the other options for things we can do. We could still try and do that, but we might not get there. And it may mean that we end up doing nothing, or we could do these other things. What do you think? But it was just, the decision was made and taken. And I was like, okay. So I'm watching this all play out. And I'm also aware that they are very stressed. And I'm like, okay. And then eventually, and they ended up having a conversation with another person, and they decided we were not going to do this thing. And I was like, could I be involved in the conversation? Okay. So I was like, look, I shared at this point, like, look, I just want to share that I'm a little disappointed because this is a special occasion for me. I've already spent all day by myself. This thing was supposed to be the thing we were doing to celebrate. And now, without me being a part of the conversation, it's been cancelled with no other options being suggested as an alternative. And this person went, fine, okay, I'll make it happen. And she disappeared to start getting ready. And I was like, wait, what? Hold on, what just happened? And I wasn't looking for them to make this thing happen now. I was more like, let's have a conversation and figure out what the alternatives are. Like, if we're going to do something else, like, yeah, absolutely. And I went to go and have a conversation with them, and they were like, if you don't let me get ready, we're not, like, this is not, I'm like, she's like, I'm happy to have this conversation, but let's get going. I'm like, okay. So I'm just like, okay. And we get into the car and we have a conversation. Now, as it turns out, we not only got there, I mean, we didn't have lunch or dinner. I ended up eating stuff I'd made to eat on an airplane the following day in the car on the way down there. But we ended up not only getting there, we were maybe 15 minutes late, and there were time tickets. I don't think they even looked at the time on our tickets on the way in. So it was one of those things where we got there and it was wonderful. We had a lovely evening. It was great. But the thing is that there were several points in this where it was rescue mode that jumped in. It was rescue approach that jumped in. It's like, okay, I'm going to make it happen. I'm like, you're fixing this problem when this is the problem that's present. And it's like, there's a challenge over here. If we have a conversation, we could have gone out for a lovely dinner. There were so many other things that we could have done. There were so many ways it could have happened. And one of the things was that they had some deadlines that there were things they needed to do from a work perspective that they weren't going to be able to do and get us to where we were going. So I was like, once I know that's the thing, in the car on the way down there, I was on their laptop doing the things they needed to be done. So I'm like, there's a solution here. But if we have a conversation about it, we can all be in creator mode around this versus I'm going to take the decisions for this and I'm going to go and make it happen without involving the other person, because they weren't seeing me as a creator in that approach. They were seeing themselves as a rescuer, had to rescue me from this situation that in some respect was of their own creation, and seeing me as a victim. I'm not a victim over here. Hello. Like, I get life happens, life be lifing. We talk about it all the time. Shit happens. And let's have a conversation so that we collectively can decide what we're going to create in the context of this new situation now. Decisions have been made. We're at this point in the process now. Okay. Were there some choices that could have been made differently? Yes. Will we be in a different outcome? Yes. We're here now. So let's figure out what we want to create from here, as opposed to just trying to slap a Band-Aid on it, which, as I said, it worked out. We had a great evening. And that could have unfolded a number of different ways.
It could have went better.
Yes. And it could have gone worse. It could have got a lot worse from the same decision. Like, we may have driven like 3 hours to get somewhere and then not been able to get in. And the entire night would have been like, so it worked out. And there was potentially a better way of approaching that. Creator approach and supporter approach and creator approach, all the other approaches. So the other thing is, how many times have you been in a position where somebody is trying to offer you help and you're sitting there going, this is not helpful. It's not helping. This is not, like, it's actually making the situation worse. Okay, I really appreciate that you want to help me right now. This is no, please stop. Like, that's the internal dialogue that I have had on so many occasions, or the internal monologue, I suppose, of like, oh, they're trying to help. And if I say this isn't helpful, it's probably not going to be taken very well. So I probably just need to, oh, okay, I'm just going to sit here and nod and yeah, okay, cool. Yep. Support is only supportive if it is supportive to the person you are trying to support. And the best way of knowing that is ask. Do they want this support? Is this going to be helpful? Like, I mean, there's nothing worse than having somebody force feed you support that you don't actually want. Because you're like, this is not, thanks. No. Please stop. Please stop. So it's really important that, and that is also honoring their creator approach. Because if you're not checking in with them, you're basically saying, there's a part of you subconsciously saying, I know better than you. I know what you need. And therefore I'm going to do the thing that I know you need, even if it's not something that you agree or believe that you need. So if we are honoring the other creator approach, we're basically going, here's the thing I would like to do, or here, I would like to help and support you in this moment. Would that feel helpful? Let's get the two going together. Now, when it comes to what support they want, most people, when you go, how can I support you right now? First words out of their mouth, I don't know. Because a lot of the time when they're in that place of struggle, or they're in that place of challenge, that's the hard part of the reason they're there is because they don't know what to do. And they don't know what help would help. They don't know what support would help. They don't know anything. And a lot of the time when they're in that position, their emotions are going to take over. The chances are they could be experiencing what's known as amygdala hijack, where there's the part of the brain that is all about the emotions, basically takes over and stops you from being able to engage in rational thought and logical thinking, which means that you want to ask them the question, because there are going to be moments where they're like, if you could just do this, that would make all the difference to me. I'm trying to do 26 things, but if you could do this one thing, that would help. Could you just do that? So that's the first and easiest thing, is to check in and ask what they need. And if they do know, it's super easy. It's like, okay, if they do know and I can do that, let's just jump to the doing, because it makes things quick and easy. And that's like Serena and I, we've been in that position with each other on so many occasions. I remember when we were doing the visa application, and Serena would be like, what can I do? And I'm like, can you just make some food? And at that point she'd be like, what food do you want? I don't care. And that's the I don't care is the I don't have capacity to make a decision right now. And that's the point at which Serena, I mean, obviously I do care. If Serena came back with a handful of roasted almonds, I'm allergic to nuts, it's probably not going to be helpful. I do actually care, but I also trust Serena to know me well enough to know that she's going to be able to provide something that would be helpful. And so I can trust her to go, just anything that I eat, just provide that would be fabulous in this moment in time. And a lot of the time we're concerned about doing this, because if we don't have the capacity for that, it's like, I've now offered support and now I can't give the support that you want. But that becomes a good place again, where you've got these two creator approaches. Happy dinner, Daz. That's Daz's automatic feeder, Serena's cat. If you're not a regular, that's the automatic cat feeder going off in the background. You're going, what the hell is that sound? Who's Daz? And if you want to see him, I think it was a couple of episodes back, he stuck his little furry face in and made an appearance. So one of the concerns is like, when you're in that place of like, this is the support I would need, I don't have the capacity. Again, this is a great point where you get these two creator approaches together, and you can then start throwing noodles on the wall. Like, what do we create together? We want to create support. What are the things that, okay, here are the things I do have the capacity for. And they can then be like, do you have the capacity for any of these things? And then again, you can be like, okay, here's all the noodles that we have. And then, because the truth of the matter is, if you are in creator approach and you're with somebody else in creator approach, if I ask Serena for some support and she doesn't have the capacity to give me the thing I've asked for, I do not want her to put herself at a deficit to support me, because I know in terms of the needs ecosystem, that doesn't actually help anybody out. So it's in our it's in both of our best interests. Try saying that 10 times fast. To come up with a solution that marries up my capacity and what would feel supportive for her. So this is where you can start like when you get into the options phase. Options is that's like start throwing noodles. Here are the noodles. Like, I'm going to throw 3 noodles out first. Let me see whether any of those land. And it's like, because I don't want to, if I dump 300 noodles on you at once, I'm like, I don't even have the capacity to think about 300 noodles, let alone pick one of the 300 noodles. So maybe I'll start with 3. What about these? Well, of those three, this one would feel better. What else have you got? And maybe I throw another three. Actually, you know what? That would be really helpful for me right now. If you could do that for me, that would be great. And so this is where, again, we have these two creators. Although we are supporting somebody else, we're working as two creator approaches together to come up with a way of supporting that feels good to both people. Because ultimately, if it doesn't work for both people, it doesn't really work for anybody, because you end up with resentment being built because one person is giving something that they don't have the capacity to give, or this doesn't feel in alignment for them to give, or someone's getting support that doesn't really feel supportive for them. So this is like in this kind of what support do they want? What are the options? What are the choice? This is all these kind of two creators coming together, or rather the what and the options is really the two creators coming together. The choice is still theirs though. And it's like, even if the choice they're making is, I don't have the capacity to choose, can you choose for me? That's still them making a choice. It's still them being in creator mode, because they're asking you to make. So like me saying to Serena, I don't care what food, whatever food you've got the capacity to make is perfectly fine with me. That's me saying, I'm choosing to let you make the choice here. And then at that point, then you can go and start creating the action. And this might sound like it could be a little bit clunky to begin with. Like I can imagine people being like, oh God, this feels like a lot of hard work just to help somebody out. But the truth of the matter is, if you don't go through this process and you're providing help that is of zero help whatsoever, then that's a waste of your time and energy as well. That's not helpful to you. It's not helpful to them. It's not helpful to anybody in the place. So it's really important for you to make sure that you are going through this process. And as we said with the creator approach, the key thing is to start doing this with small things to begin with. Get used to the process, get used to what it feels like, because the more you get used to it, the easier it will become to do and the less clunky it's going to feel. And more importantly, when you start doing this, especially with your closest people, this becomes then a pattern and a dynamic that you then get used to running. The more that you do it, the easier it becomes. Like the neural pathways in your brain get well developed for this way of doing things, and then it becomes easier. And also because both of you understand what you're doing, because you've done it before, there's none of this, well, why are you asking me that? I don't understand what this is all about. You just can get on with it. And now if Serena and I, if either one of us needs support or is offering support to the other one, it's super quick and easy. Like this sounds like it could be like, oh God, this sounds like it's going to be like a 30-minute conversation for every single thing I want to do to offer support with. You can get to the point where you can do it in like 30 seconds. Like it's like once you're in that position where you are used to the process yourself, where the other person has figured out, okay, this is what we're doing now. This is how this works. And once you're in that place, things become so seamless and easy. And more importantly, that you are supporting in a way that is honoring and supportive of both people. Because if it's not supportive of both people, or at least it's not depleting the person who's offering the support, at the very minimum, you need to not be at a point where you're going to push past your capacity in doing it. But you're doing it in a way which is constructive and supportive to both people. Because if what we do when we're in rescue mode or when we're in rescue approach is that we help somebody else by putting ourselves as a deficit. And when we do that, we then end up not being able to be there that you then disappear. It's like, well, there's no, like, you don't exist anymore. Like there's no support available at that point. And if you end up supporting in a way which doesn't support the other person, they then, so if you've done it the first way and you put yourself in a deficit, then you then drop into victim approach. It's like, oh God, there's nothing I can do. I need someone to come along and fix it for me. And chances are the person who you've been trying to help is the person then you may end up going to saying, can you come and fix it for me? And then they end up putting them at a deficit. So they go back into it. And it's like this downward spiral for everybody involved. If you end up putting in a quote unquote support that is not really supportive to the other person, then you then become the persecutor approach. They become the victim approach. Everyone's in the drama triangle. And the truth of the matter is the best and only way to step out of the triangle and to stop that dynamic from existing is to consistently step out of it yourself. It's like consistently step into it. Like the second you notice anything happening, it's like, okay, how do I get into creator approach? How do I get into creator approach? And once you're in creator approach, then how do I get into supporter approach? How do I get into contributor approach? But this is the reason that this is so much better than the rescue approach, because it keeps everybody in the empowerment ecosystem, or it creates a situation in which everyone can stay in the empowerment ecosystem. You can't force somebody else to be there, and we're going to get to that a little bit later in episode 8 of the series. I believe we're on episode 6 already. That's only 2 episodes away. That's exciting. But that's the thing, is that you can't force somebody else to stay there. But if you operate in these approaches, then it makes it so much easier for everybody to stay there if they want to be, and if they're choosing to be, and if they're willing to engage with their creator approach as well.
And it creates more fulfilling relationships just as a whole.
Gotcha.
Like,
yeah,
it's not even something that can be explained once your relationships are predominantly in the green needs ecosystem. Like, it is game changing. And I know we say that about a lot of this stuff, and it's because it's true, all of it.
Yeah, it's one, and the cool thing about it is that the way to start with this is to start yourself. If you start doing it yourself, and as I said, we're going to get to this a little bit in a couple of episodes time about like how to deal with people if they're in the drama triangle and you're in the ecosystem, and how do you get them there and everything. But the most important thing is to focus on yourself, because also, like, Serena didn't know about these ecosystems. I mean, I didn't know about them in quite this exact form because it's taken some time to get these models refined to the way that they look right now. But the truth of the matter is that I was operating like this for quite some time before Serena came along. And so by my operating like this, I could see Serena going, like, yes, I go through this content with Serena? Yes, I did. Did we actually break down and kind of go through the steps with each other? Yes, we did. And before that even happened, Serena was already like erring over in that direction, because she could see what I was doing, and she could see how good it felt for her and how much it worked for our relationship. And she started doing a similar thing back. So even if it was just like mirroring the sorts of things that I do, I can I've often had clients say to me, you know, that some people have those bracelets, like the WWJD, what would Jesus do bracelets. I have had clients say, I need a what would Claire say bracelet. Because so I can look down and be like, what would Claire say in this situation? And I think that's what it is. It's like when you kind of look at it and you go, well, this is what Claire says when she's supporting me. Actually, maybe I could try the same thing when I'm supporting her. Oh, look, that worked way better than the way I've done it previously. Well, let's carry on with this then, because it seems like a much better approach.
Very much so.
So anything else you want to add before we finish up this episode?
Well, just one quick thing. Because our supporter approach is part of the wider needs ecosystem, we want to learn the other parts of the ecosystem and how to engage with and adopt other roles in the ecosystem. So the next episode, we're going to be looking at the contributor approach and learning how we can support without rescuing people.
So like I can hear people going, hold on a second, wasn't that what we were doing today? Learning how to support without rescuing people? Yes, but there's more than one kind of support in the empowerment ecosystem, and we're going to get into that next time. So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you. We'll be back with that episode on the contributor approach next week. Between now and then, remember to stay safe, take care of yourself, and continue to meet your own needs. Lots of love. Bye.
Bye, friends.
That's it for today.
If you like what you heard
and would like to see some of Serena's awesome facial expressions,
check out the video podcast on YouTube.
And remember, before connecting with the supporter approach, it is essential for you to first connect with the creator approach so that you can start supporting without rescuing people.
Well, shit. It really is that simple.